In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you several alcoholing techniques that you can do in mere minutes on ceramics, and they look great. So stick around, that's coming up next. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Art with Jay Monteith. I'm excited to be here with you guys to share and show you two new alcoholing techniques on ceramics. This is due to an overwhelming response I had on my Instagram account where I shared a time-lapse video of this particular technique, which is a crackle effect. So we're going to be doing this one on a couple of different bowls, as you can see here. Really pretty, very easy to do. And then I'm going to be sharing with you another technique, a drip down blended technique, two-tone on this particular style of vessel, as well as a solid ring line effect. Very easy to do. You can make them in minutes. So I think we should get started, and without further ado, let's move on and I'll share with you all the things you need for this week's project. All right, let's quickly go over the items that you need for this week's project. There aren't very many things that are needed. It's a very simple project this week. So you'll need to start off with some ceramics, as I have here. You can choose whatever you wish. These are all from Walmart, and these were a great deal. These were $1 a piece, so I was pretty happy with that find. So a couple of bowls. This is a toothbrush holder, and then a soap dispenser. So whatever you'd like to use for your vessels or ceramics, that's what I'm using this week. Then you'll need a couple of plastic containers or Tupperware containers to hold your alcohol for the one project. I am using 91%. It doesn't really matter what you use. 70% or higher should do the trick. This is also from Walmart. And then for your safety, I have gloves. You want to wear a pair of those just to protect your hands and your skin. And then also make sure you're working in a well-ventilated area. If you need to wear a mask, do so. If you can work outside, even better. But the alcohol does tend to smell a bit, so just keep that in mind before you start. Then also you'll want some saran wrap. It doesn't really matter what kind. This is the Glad, and it works really well for the technique that we're going to be using for the crackle effect. Then, of course, you just want to have some paper towel on hand. And then lastly, you'll need your alcohol inks. I'm just using two colors for this week's project. I'm using my forever favorite Jacquard brand Pinata color line. This is the Senorita Magenta. And then I have put some in this bottle. This is the Baja Blue as well. This is by Jacquard. So these are the two colors that I'm using. You can use obviously whatever you wish and whichever brand you prefer. All right, once you have all of your items ready to go, let's move on and begin the project. All right, so we're going to begin with the first technique, which is the crackle technique. You'll be using the cling wrap for this. Is really easy to do and very effective. There are a couple tricks and tips that I'm going to share with you along the way, just so that you get the best results. But also, I should let you know that this technique will actually be in my new fluid art book. I'm really proud to announce that that is now available for pre-order worldwide. Really excited about it. Thanks so much to all of you who have already pre-ordered. I know many of you follow me on Instagram, so I thank you for that. If you are interested in purchasing it, please just click the link in the description box below. I will have a link for the pre-order. So I'm very excited, and I really appreciate your support, so thanks a lot for purchasing that. So this is one of the techniques that will be in the book. And this is very simple, like I said. So what you will need is your bowls. In this case is what I'm using here. I'm going to be using those. And one of the best ways to effectively create this look is to put the inks on the saran first. It's a lot easier to control and you get a better result. Okay, so I just pulled off a little piece of saran here. And what you want to do is just drop some ink onto your wrap itself. So I'm going to use the pink and the blue and just randomly drop some on. It doesn't really matter where or how you put it on. I use these bottles with these particular nibs. I really like these. These are actually by Jacquard. You can buy these online, and if you're in Canada, you can get them from Curry's Art Supply Store. So I have a lot of those. I find them very useful. Now, the key to this is to not put blending solution or alcohol within the mix. It waters it down and you get a less detailed effect. So it's much better if you just use ink. Don't use any alcohol, okay? That's the first tip. All right, now I'm just going to move this aside here. Move it up forward here. And it's okay if you get ink a little bit on the inside or on this part. You can remove the sticker. I just haven't done that yet. But we're going to clean that all up after, so don't worry about that. Then you just pull your wrap over like this and just start wrapping it around. And if you don't have enough, don't worry, just cut off another piece and you can start just moving it and mixing it. Make sure you have enough to obviously put the pieces together. All right, so I'm going to quickly do another piece because I obviously don't have enough there. Okay, and then you want to make sure that everything is covered really, really well and you don't have any white negative space unless, of course, you want that to be there. And then just sort of squish it a little bit, and then when you do that, you'll get those lines that are created by crinkling the saran wrap, if you can see that there. And then once everything is covered nicely, like I said, don't worry about the inside. There's going to be some ink that gets on the inside. It's not a big deal. We can fix that. But once everything is covered, that's it. You're done. And you will get some amazing results. So you want to put this aside for 24 hours, probably in this case. Depends on how much ink you put on, and if, of course, you've added that blending solution or alcohol as well to the mix, which as I said, I recommend that you don't do that. So just straight ink, and you need to leave it till it's fully dry. If you pull it off prior to that, you're not going to get the best results, okay? So leave it to dry, in this case 24 hours. We'll come back to this tomorrow and we'll pull it off. So this is it, the first technique. I'm going to finish another bowl here. So you just repeat the process for whatever ceramic you're doing and leave it for 24 hours. So let's leave these, I'll finish that, come back, and we'll pull off the saran wrap. All right, it's the next day, 24 hours or just shy of, and I've left these to completely dry. So depending on the amount of ink that you put on to your saran wrap will determine the drying time, but it's usually about a day. Just leave it overnight. I did end up doing another color just for fun. This is Baja Blue and Sunbright Yellow. I just mixed those two colors. But let's just pull off the saran off this one so you can see. And there is the mess inside the bowl, which we will clean up. And here is the underside. Again, we'll clean that all up also, but obviously it is the actual decoration on the side of the bowl that you're looking for. So that turned out really, really pretty, as you can see there. So that's the first one. And then I'll quickly take off the saran off this blue, Baja Blue and green one. Ooh, that one's really pretty too. I really like that one. A little bit more space in between as well. So it just depends on where you place the ink and how much ink gets pushed together, meshed around, or left alone. So there you have it on that one. And again, that was Baja Blue and a little bit of Sunbright Yellow. So that one turned out really, really well too. Okay, so let's just clean these up quickly here. All you need to do essentially is just take some paper towel and some alcohol and just clean off the bottom and the inside. Just take your time with that so that you don't get any alcohol on the outside, obviously, because you don't want to affect your bowls. So I'm just going to grab some paper towels, some alcohol, and I'll begin cleaning these out. All right, I'm just going to take the stickers off the bottom of these. And the sticker's actually easier to pull off when you've placed the ink over it. It just helps lift off the stickiness. And they should be easy to pull off. Now I'll just take some alcohol and just begin taking off the bottom area. And again, it depends if you want to leave it on there. Of course, it's totally up to you. I just like to have the base cleaned off. So you can see how that's cleaning up. And the same thing for the inside. I'll do that on both bowls. But essentially you just wipe around on the inside until it becomes clean. All right, there you have it. I've cleaned off the inside and the bottom of each bowl. And so they're nice and neat and tidy as far as the ink is concerned. So now on to the next step, which is you can either embellish it a little bit more, and I really like to do that around the rim if you want to tidy that up and give it an extra little punch of flair. Then you can do that with what I like to use, some of the Peebo 4 Artist markers. These are awesome. I love them. You can use these on ceramic and porcelain, and they come in a number of different metallic colors, including this one, which is silver. I have a newfound love of silver. They have gold and copper as well. So these are really great to use. They have a nice wide tip. You can get different widths. This one is the 8mm. So I like to just rim the top edge of the bowl with these markers and just go around the top of the bowl. It just finishes them off. All right, I finished rimming each bowl with the silver metallic, and as you can see here, I just adds that extra little bit. Looks really good. Cleans up the edges as well. So there you have it. Again, it's personal preference, totally up to you, but I do like that finished look. It just adds that extra element. So the next thing you want to do is move on to sealing and protecting. We'll do this with both techniques. I'll just talk about it here briefly before moving on to the second technique. But to seal and protect your alcohol ink, and I've mentioned this before, I even have a video on sealing and protecting your work, you need to use a sealer such as Krylon Kmar. This is the most popular, widely used sealer spray for alcohol ink work. It doesn't matter the substrate that you're working on, but Kmar will actually prevent bleeding, and it actually protects the ink. So this is what you need to use first. Obviously, when you're using sprays, please work in a well-ventilated area, wear a mask, and consider your safety. You can do 1 to 2 coats of each spray. Make sure the coat is dry in between each spray coat. And then once that has been done, then you can move on to using a UV protecting spray. This is obviously very important when we're dealing with alcohol inks because they're fugitive, they're not light fast, which means over time they will eventually fade. So to prolong that and push it out, we want to use the best possible UV protectants as possible. And in this case, I'm using Krylon UV Archival. This comes in a number of different finishes, matte, satin, and gloss. So just choose whatever finish you prefer. Golden also makes a really good UV finish, and they've done a number of studies on dye-based inks, and they actually recommend 6 coats to produce the best results, and they've done a lot of studies on this. I'll leave a link down below if you want to look at the research regarding that. So Krylon or Golden, whatever you prefer, and again, each coat must be dry before moving on to the next. So there you have it, your Krylon Kmar varnish and then your UV Archival. Okay, let's move on to technique number 2. All right, on to the second technique. This is very, very simple too. We're going to be doing a blended technique on a container like this one here. So what you will need are your inks, 2 colors. I'm using the Senorita Magenta that's going to be painted on with a sponge brush around the top. And then we're going to be putting some alcohol into this container and putting some blue alcohol tinted into the alcohol itself. So obviously the very first thing you want to do is get your sponge brush and take some of the ink and just place it on your sponge brush, just a little bit of drip around the top. And then you can just paint a line around the top here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just continue around the top until you've completed an entire circle meeting on the other side. And then I'm just going to sit that aside just for a few moments while I fill up our container with alcohol. And then we'll drop in some ink and mix that around. And you just keep adding ink until you've got the color depth that you want. So you want it fairly dark for this so you get a good blending effect on this container. So just keep adding until you have enough. So I have another container, same thing. I just have more ink in this one and I've been using it more. So the great thing about these is that you can use the Tupperware containers, the ones with the lids. You can then keep your alcohol tinted with whatever alcohol ink you have in there. So I can use this multiple times. So with your container, your little vessel here, I'm just going to dip it in and hold it down just above the edge here on the line. So we'll press this in. And then it's nice and straight. I've actually pressed it down to the bottom of this container so I knew how much alcohol to put in so it wouldn't overflow when I pressed it in. Lift it out and then hold it there. Just wait there a couple of minutes so that it all drips down and dries evenly, because as soon as you turn it on an angle, then obviously it will shift. So just hold it there and let it dry for a couple minutes. All right, so I've just moved that off to the side and it's just sitting there for a moment drying. So I've left it there for a couple of minutes and you can see how all the bleed has pulled down from the pink into the blue, and you've got that nice even line effect. So it's got like a two-tone look to it. So it's really, really easy to do, very, very simple. That's it. And if you want a second look more of a solid line and you don't want that bleed, then the key is to allow each layer to dry. So I'm going to show you on another one that I've been working on, which is this container here. So this is dried. So I'm going to do another line. It's solid with the blue. So we'll see how that turns out. If you just want that a couple of different rings, we can do the same thing, but allow each line to dry individually before moving on, and then you don't get that bleed. I decided actually to add pink. I wanted to add a little bit more of a color. So you can see here the blue, and then I had a lighter line with this lighter color, and then I just decided to dip in pink. So I've got a nice straight pink line there. So again, you got to let each layer dry, otherwise you get the blended effect of what I just showed you from the first container. All right, I have all of my containers here that I finished. My ring effect solid line container, and then of course I have a few with the blended drip down effect on these two containers. And then our first technique was the crackle one, and both of these turned out really, really well. I'm very, very happy with the results. Don't forget to seal and protect, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, with the Krylon Kmar and then the UV protectant. As well, please don't put your alcohol ink ceramics in the dishwasher. Treat them always like fine china. Just give them a light wash and you should be fine. Well, that's it today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found value, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more art videos. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys again real soon.